We are back right here on Gone Fishkin, and I'm very stoked right now. 3 Long Island boys sitting in Hollywood, California right now. I'm sitting with Envy on the coast, and I might have been waiting since I started my show to be able to say that.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
It's hot as fuck here in Hollywood, California. I've been waiting since today to say that on camera. It is hotter than fuck here.
I'm sorry it got so hot.
That just happened too, man. That's all for you.
Donald Trump says it's not hot here, so it must be me.
So you guys just announced 3 shows back, turned into 4 shows, and it's a more so reincarnation from what everything is you guys are saying with it. Now talk about that a little bit. Now what's the difference between I can't even say the word reincarnation, reunion, and just like playing?
That's a good question.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge difference between those things. I think both involve playing, but in the reincarnation end of things, we split up a while ago, 6 years ago, I think, 7 years ago, something like that. And Brian and I were the ones left to sort of make the decision on what we wanted to do. And reunion conversations happened, but when they folded and we felt as though this thing was just going to sit,
indefinitely.
Indefinitely. We were no longer happy with that. Like that process has happened a few times.
Okay.
Not as serious as the one conversation that happened like a year or so ago. Yeah. But when that one happened and it was like, okay, I think this is actually just going to sit. It was then we felt up to us to make the decision of whether or not we wanted to move forward with the project in the same way that we had the option to do 6 years ago when we decided like, no, we don't want to do this with other people. Like we want to go on to other endeavors creatively, musically, everything. We felt we were faced with that option again, and we decided we really miss playing those songs. People really want to hear those songs, which is a privilege to be able to have people who want to hear music you made a long time ago, and we want to make new songs. So
I work at a Long Island music venue. And so I get a lot of questions on a regular basis, kind of like, hey, what's happening with the thing? And like touring bands will come in, and then like one of the guys on my crew will be like, yes, using Envy on the Coast. And like one of these bands that we were like on Warped Tour with when they were like kids will be like, yo, you playing Envy? And I'm like, yeah, man. And he was like, fucking love you, guys should play, please. I'm like, it's not really up to me. And then one day we decided that it was up to us, and we're gonna do it. And I couldn't be more fucking excited to play these songs again.
Now you guys had a lot of buzz around you around the time you guys ended everything. Have you found that more buzz has been going on with you guys? Like you guys weren't even on Spotify for the most part. Like Lucy Gray and the EP weren't up there. It was just really low country. And I looked on Spotify recently, and I'm like, that's a lot of plays for a band that hasn't posted anything about their band in. What has it been, like 5 years, 6 years?
I think that like only further feeds into this, like the mentality that brought us here, where it's like, we both are, very, very passionate about our current projects and our own things that we have going on. Bry's literally here to shoot a music video for his project. And, so we're still...
It's going to be sick. Let's talk about that.
It's the real reason we're here. Pivot. But so we're still, and I'm working on a new EP for my project as well. We were so wrapped up in those things because that's where our heart has been that we didn't notice that. You know what I mean? Like, and then, things creep in, someone plays you something or reminds you of something, you go and you hear a song you literally haven't listened to in 6 years or whatever, and you're just like, damn, this is pretty cool, man. Like, this was cool. And then you realize how many people still appreciate this. You think about the fact that, like, I forgot that, like, I've discovered so many bands post-mortem. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many artists that, like, I've discovered decades after their prime or after they put out the records they put out.
The Replacements. There's one for me.
There you go.
That was a band that I'm sorry.
No, that's a great example.
They're like one of those bands I found out about, and I was like, holy fucking shit, how did I miss this band that pretty much invented indie rock? And like they're I don't know.
Dude, I didn't get into hip hop until so many years after the golden era, so I missed everything as far as seeing it on stage. But I don't know why I never thought about the fact that happened to us too. You know what I mean? Like when I started noticing that reaction, I was just like, whoa, that's crazy. Like people like our music and they weren't there when we were making it. they want to see us play these songs because they mean a lot to them. Like, this is wild. Like, I forget that records still exist to people in this world in which we don't exist anymore, you know? So yeah, like it's an amazing thing. We're super lucky that we have that, you know?
Not a lot of bands, you know, get that opportunity, and it's something that we plan on, you know, doing justice to.
Definitely. And I feel like you guys started out, you were basically kind of don't take this the wrong way, like a scene. Okay, cool. You were kind of like the scene band, like everything was like the scene band.
You wore makeup.
I might have wore makeup to your show.
I wore a little makeup in college.
Yeah, I didn't do that, man.
But
for Halloween, he wore makeup one year. So
that's probably
and accurate. He liked it.
And I feel like you guys were like the first band really to break out of that and evolve to like a very unique style of music that no one else was doing at the time.
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, it really is. And
we never felt as though we did, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I kind of thought that our last record was lost on those kids, and that they sort of shunned the idea that we were trying to distance ourselves from what was happening at the time. And I think that was a conscious decision on our part too, because like we were getting a little bit tired with being lumped in with a lot of bands that we felt like we had nothing in common with, and we were also getting into music that was not really present in what was happening then. So it was only kind of natural that our that Low Country evolved into what it became, and you know, I'm super proud of it. And we got to work with Sean Bevan, who's a legendary producer and engineer, and it was just, you know, the perfect storm. So yeah.
And on that record, Ryan, you played drums on it too, right?
I did.
Yeah.
And some of the tones and the sounds, just something I've never heard on a band's like album. And still, like the quality of recordings these days, nothing really compares to like some of the drum sounds you had, guitar sounds, vocal sounds.
That's Sean Bevan.
That's 100% Sean Bevan.
He recorded Nine Inch Nails. He recorded, you know, Marilyn Manson, like a lot of he did Thrice. He mixed Visu, I think, by Thrice. So
mixed some Pantera stuff, like vocal stuff. He mixed some stuff on Chinese Democracy and recorded some of that too.
He was apparently he was the only one that got Axl to sing on Chinese Democracy before they ended up like fully finishing it. But like Bevan is,
he's a legend. He's absolutely, and not only that, he's like, you know, the period of time, and I think the other guys in the band can attest to this as well. That we were all very much like hanging on his every word when working with him, you know, like we can't take credit for the sonic accomplishment that record was by any means. Like we worked super hard on the songs, but like we didn't even have a means of recording demos at that time. We demoed the majority of them on GarageBand with like, you know, an M-Box, and then even some of it like just because it was like all we had in the space that day, on like a little Canon ELPH camera. Like we would literally just put it in the corner of the room and like have it face the wall just for the audio, and that's what we sent to Bevan. And then like I remember getting the conference call with him, and he like explains what he hears like the record, it's like the central thesis of the record and what he'd want to do with it. And I remember all of us just kind of looking at each other like, yeah, that sounds. And the fact we weren't heading towards that, but we made a bunch of stuff, and that sounds right. Like, let's do that. And you heard
through the bad demos, which exactly. Like that is the hallmark of a great producer, when they can hear through, you know, a rough vocal take or a Sonics thing, and they hear the body of the song. And he's a songs guy, you know what I mean? He knows what he's doing, and he made that record. You know, I thought the songs were really strong on it. He made them just really strong. You know,
good job. Like that experience will hold close to us forever.
And definitely something he couldn't put into it was passion. And I know Envy on the Coast is very passionate. I've talked to Ryan about this in previous interviews, like about First Vow stuff. Lyrically, one of the strongest lyricists I know. And I've seen you guys 15 to 20 times on Long Island.
Damn.
Literally parking lots. One show, The Crazy Donkey, Ryan didn't even play because of his voice. I was there, and the crowd overpowered the instrumentals for the most part.
Yeah, that was sick.
And also, one show that really sticks out to me is, I think, Christmas shows. You did 2 shows of The Crazy Donkey, and you were like deathly ill or something.
Yeah, I was always kind of deathly ill.
Yeah.
I'm good now.
All right, as long as you're good now.
Kid was like fucking allergic to everything. Yeah, it's like, all right, and sick again.
You could like just, you could tell like you were done, but you still killed it the whole time.
Thank you.
And it just shows the passion that you've had towards Envy on the Coast and everything too.
Yeah,
and
I mean, we miss it. You know, and I miss it for sure.
Now, after everything happened and you guys played once like a benefit show or something, I saw a video, you guys played one Envy song, and besides that, nothing. Like, never, you played in NK,
Okay, I know what you're
Right.
talking about.
and then until recently, no mention of Envy, like, from either of you guys for the most part. Maybe a
Right.
Throwback Thursday picture here and there.
Yeah.
What did it feel like when you were playing Gift of Paralysis and just seeing how everyone reacted to that?
Can I take this?
Yeah.
So I think that the reaction from the crowd that we got was it was really powerful, but it was kind of secondary to the reaction that I felt when we were rehearsing with all the guys in the space, and just like playing those chords again to the intro and like the whole song, you know what I mean? Like I sort of realized, I was like, holy shit, man. Like it all kind of just like flooded back into me, and I was just like, this song is very powerful and like means a lot to a lot of people, and it deserves to be heard again. You know, it doesn't deserve to be relegated to like Spotify oblivion and fucking streaming shit. You know what I mean? Like, people need to hear that live. They need to feel it, and that's what we plan on doing. So
Yeah, I didn't anticipate those, like, that sensation either, like in the practice space before playing it. Like, having the reaction from people was incredible. Like, that was incredible. It's obviously always great to have that connection and chemistry with people, but I really didn't anticipate, like, there still wasn't any type of plan or intention past the fact that, like, I've done shows at First Vows that without Brian, I was coming to New York to do the shows. I was like, hey man, do you want to join in on this First Vows set? And he was like, yeah, totally. And I was like, I got Isaac playing guitar already. Do you want to play keys? And then, like, the fact that we were both going to be there, the idea just hit the table of like, hey, you want to encore with like a couple of these songs, you know, like, see how it feels? And I did not anticipate in the practice space being like, oh my God, like, I love everything that I've done in the past 6 or 7 years, but none of it gives me this feeling, which is very different, you know? And it's like, this is a good feeling. I want to feel this again.
right, like we both kind of turned into, like, I think studio rats over the past 6 years. Like
100%.
We'll spend hours, you know, ignoring our friends and family and girlfriends and things like that, and be in the studio by ourselves. And like, that's a very specific type of creativity and type of energy that we put forward to making music. And then with Envy stuff, it was always more about like the tactile playing your guitar and like fucking rocking, you know what I mean? And like, that's something that like neither of our projects are gonna ever give to us. Like, you know, we had the NK thing, which was more of like an experimentation into like heavy metal, hardcore, whatever kind of heavy stuff to get out your aggression. But like, it feels good to rock, dude. It feels good to rock.
I think Ryan said this previously in an interview I heard, that you were only playing newer songs. You wouldn't go back to like Temper and all that stuff live back in the day because you couldn't emotionally connect to it. Now,
Right.
do you feel more of an emotional connection to these songs, just seeing like them basically marinating and now knowing you're going to play them again? Do you feel emotionally connected to it more so now than when you were playing it like every single day?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just talking about this to some
last
degree.
night in the space.
And
I bugged it.
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's like in entertaining all these conversations and about, you know, about doing these songs again, I think you can experience music on a lot of different levels and layers and planes, as nerdy or whatever as that sounds. It's like, you know, I have records where I'm sitting there in tears or in near tears, like obsessing over lyrics or whatever. Then I have records that, you know, I'm saying other people's records that I listen to. And then you have other records that just make you feel something and you don't dig too deep into it and whatever. And I feel like for me, because of the time that's transpired now and because of like where we are, I'm not going to be digging too deep into what I meant when I was 17 years old and I wrote this particular line as much as
In
it's
high
like,
school?
Yeah, like it's like you dig too deep into that, you're going to be like, oh, geez, you know, like for obvious reasons. But that's not what it's about right now. It's about the fact that these songs as a whole, on a whole different layer, aside from the layer you're on when you're writing it and you're sitting there with your notebook and your guitar or whatever, represent a period of your life. They represent a connection with people. They represent like a feeling that you had on stage and a way you behaved and emoted and expressed yourself on stage. And they exist on that plane, which is a really cool thing, you know. And if you can like live there, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like that's where I think that's what we feel, where it's just like when we had these conversations, like shit, man, like let's go do this thing because it's super fun and let's keep it that simple. You know what I mean? So it's like very early in the conversations, it was like, what do you think people want to hear? You know what I mean? Like there wasn't so much this like, well, that song doesn't really represent who I am right now. It's like, of course it doesn't.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a whole lot of like Envy on the Coast material that would be like, yeah, this says exactly who I am right now. Because like, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be like you going back to your high school notebook and reading like a love letter you wrote to some chick. You're just like, yeah, I don't like her anymore, and
don't even know who it's about anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
The meanings of things evolve over time, which is, you know, that was one of the biggest things, and what was important to us in being like, we want to be able to play whatever we want and what kids want to hear, what people want to hear.
Nice. And I just want to thank you for some of the music you wrote throughout high school, because Ryan and I went to the same high school.
We did.
Whoa.
You didn't know that?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
Weird.
Yeah, I was in the middle school while Ryan was writing these songs.
Just struggling,
And
man.
Just partying.
Just did almost the exact
Nah, I
opposite.
wasn't.
And a
I
lot
used to
of-
pick him up from school. It was definitely not partying. I had to like pick him up so he didn't get beat up by that one kid
Yep.
that you wrote the song about.
It's real.
And a lot of references were to some stuff I just had no interest in reading. And I'm like, oh shit, it's an Envy song. I'm going to read into this. I'm going to actually pay attention.
Oh my
There you
god.
go.
So yeah, thank you for getting me through morality class.
You're welcome.
You had morality? Where the
Yeah.
fuck did you guys go to school?
Kellenberg.
Oh, it's right. It was like a Catholic thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are the
Shout out to Ryan's class for being the last prom. I never got to go to prom.
dude. I went to the prom.
you?
I was
Wow.
there. I took my friend Taylor, who's getting married. Congratulations.
Yeah. We were the last prom.
Yeah, it was. That was fun. Prom
had a
was
miserable.
Yeah,
time.
it
Yeah, he had a bad
sounded.
time. I had a good time.
Sounded pretty fun on the Colbert Report.
Yeah.
There you go.
What?
Yeah,
He covered it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
TRL covered it.
Yeah, man.
So after Envy, you guys did NK North Korea together. Then Brian ended up leaving, and some of the songs kind of did resonate. A lot of Envy sounds like Shoulder Gorilla. That one definitely. Also, Vacation Days. I could also see that as an Envy song as well. Have you ever thought about? I don't want to jump the gun or anything, like playing some of these songs live during these Envy sets.
I think I mean, honestly, when we sat down to make the set list, there was so much like, oh my God, like if we try to play all of this,
We're gonna die.
we're going to die. Like there's like, we haven't done this in a while. How long is this set? And we're like, this is nuts, man. Like this is like a Steely Dan set. Like this is crazy, you know? So I don't think there was even room to consider that because we were just trying to like even just squash in the stuff that like friends of ours were like, yo, you gotta play this. And we're like, wait, what do we? Because what the hell? Like, and we're like, all right, like shit, you know? So there's, you know, it's an EP and 2 records. And then like we always used to do variations of stuff and like, you know, do little covers and stuff like that. Like that was sort of the way our shows went. So we want to bring it back to that and do that. Plus, I don't know, like another thing is like the Envy on the Coast respective social media pages like obviously became this haven for everyone to promote their respective projects over the course of the past 6 years. And some people respected that and some people were like, shut up, we don't give a shit about your stupid project, just get your band back together, which is fine. Like,
And you did.
yeah, well, so you're fucking welcome. No, but like I think we're both of the position now where it's like, let's just do this thing right now because people have waited a long time for it and they supported other projects that we've done throughout the past 6 years. Like, let's do this thing and like really like I don't know what's the word, like
Indulge.
Yeah, that's it. Indulge in that thing and that feeling that was this era to us and was this period of our lives as best as we can.
Yeah.
Now you did this from like probably around. You broke out probably around like before you guys were even like 25. So you guys were pretty young.
I was about 25. You were what,
23, 24 maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys were super young while everything was going on. Do
Yeah.
you see everything from a new perspective now that you've grown
hell
wiser, older?
He said something in the car like that kind of put it all into perspective because we as a band, well, mainly me and him, we would react very emotionally to certain situations when that arose when you're in a band, and like we were young and like figuring out who we were and how to like navigate this world, which is not built for young people. It's not built for people to like, it's built to exploit young people, but it's definitely not built to like teach them life lessons about how to like be an adult and be a human being. So now we can react to situations with a level head, you know what I mean? Like, and kind of think about like what the best route to take is, you know, especially like, cause like when the band, you know, when Sal and Jeremy left the band, especially me, I was like very emotional about it, and I was fucked up over it for a long time, and it, you know, took a while for me to like see where they were coming from and like kind of figure out like how I felt about it instead of just like reacting with blind anger and things like that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's like we definitely see things differently now. Like, I'm 31 years old. Like, I have like a whole other list of priorities in my life that are not being in a band. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Now, you have a job and everything now.
Yeah.
So if the opportunity arose where you did get offered a tour, is it at that point where you're like, all right, let's drop this, let's go for it again?
We're just kind of taking it all day by day. I mean, we're gonna announce some more stuff next week. So
okay.
There's some other stuff coming, and then we didn't want to do this with any sort of restrictions placed on it out of the gate. So we're going to see when things hit the table, and then we're going to think about if they sound like they're fun things for us to do. And if they sound fun, then we'll go and we'll do them.
Yeah. Nice. I read somewhere that you guys had some NK songs that basically are Envy songs, never got released or anything. I think I read that somewhere.
NK songs that...
Or you wrote during the NK era that you never released?
This might have been, yeah. I know what he's talking.
Maybe I read it wrong.
For sure. I'm not exactly sure where that would have been published. But anyway, like there was a whole batch of material that was written post Envy breakup that he was a part of and I was a part of that didn't fit into the NK scheme of things, and like kind of just sat around for 6 years that we revisited, and you know, a lot of which are really great songs, you know what I mean? And like being two guys that are like songwriters, we can kind of look at what we did then and be like, okay, I understand why I didn't like this then, but now I understand like what it can be, you know what I mean? Because like in the past 6 years, both of us have been trying to develop our skills as like producers and engineers and like things that are like not just being the songwriter guy, you know what I mean? So we can hear through like maybe some of the more awkward moments when you're demoing something and hear it for what it actually is, and a lot of it's really fucking good. So we will we'll have to see, but
yeah,
mum is the word.
I'll have to Google that one.
The word is mum.
So it's just you two, announcement, just you guys playing, and then Doug.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit, what it's like just you two going for it as opposed to going as the 5 or the 4.
That took a whole year to really assess whether that was something we wanted to do. It was super sensitive. Brian was, I think, reached that place quicker than I did. You know, he was like, when we hit the walls and it was like, this thing's gonna it's just dead. It's gonna live in, you know, in history books as something that happened, and that's it, you know. And Brian was like, well, we could do this. And I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. You know, I don't know if I want to do that. And then it came up a few times, and I still was just like, I just don't know if as difficult as this process has been to consider, I don't know if I'm personally ready to move to that place. And then when we happened to do that encore with Gray Robertson, who's my bass player with First Vows, Javier, who's my drummer with First Vows, and then our homie Isaac, who's helped out with both of our projects over the years. It was like, oh no, this feels really great. Like this, all these people are connected to this in some way, and this feels great, you know. So then in moving forward, it was like, okay, well, who do we bring in to like really, really do things justice? Because we played with talented people. We miss playing with all those dudes.
Very talented people. Yeah. And the thing that when Dan was asked to leave the band, we had to take the YouTube submissions from drummers from all over the world that wanted to play Envy tunes, and there wasn't anyone that even came close to Doug. Like,
yeah, because the important thing to remember about Doug is like there's two eras of this band now. There's the era that when Dan was playing drums, and then there's the era when I played drums on a record, and we could not be more different as far as our like stylistic choices and who we like, who we admire as drummers. It's like entirely different philosophies. So, but still both very particular.
Yeah.
So, you know, Dan was way mathier, way more cerebral as a drummer, which I cannot do. You know, I don't even process things that way. But that was very much his brand on the Lucy Gray record and the EP. It was a very important part of those records. So we needed somebody who could play that stuff. But I am strictly pocket. That's all I ever have cared about is pocket before everything. So we needed somebody who could do that too. And that's Doug. So
Doug, just to give you an example of how fucking good Doug is, Doug one time at a sound check in Oklahoma, we were like, you know, dicking around on stage. Everyone was making noise on their instruments, and someone asked him, was like, "Yo, do you know that song by Mars Volta?" I forget what the song was called, but it was like some song that Doug had maybe heard like 3 times, and he's like, you know, his tone of voice is amazing. He's just like, I think so, and it starts like, and then he just does the whole fucking song, like beat for beat, and didn't like. And we were just standing there watching him, and we were just like, yo, did that just happen? Like, did that really just happen? And like, he would do things on the drums that were shocking, like at how good he was. And it's so effortless, and I can't wait to play with him. You know what I mean? Like, I've had the privilege to play with very talented drummers over the years, and he is far and away like my favorite drummer to get on stage with and just look at him and just be like, yeah, let's go fuck this up, you know?
Nice. So there was that little bit of confusion for like when the announcement came. Obviously, the pictures were just you guys and everything. Yeah. And you guys changed to you and Ryan on the band page and stuff. Now, obviously, there was some confusion to some people. Then everyone else made a statement. You guys made a statement. Yeah. And then there was recently a statement that was released today as well. Now, question about that as a fan, when how did he word it? But basically, when you asked to like the reunion type thing, the first thing you guys said when you announced the breakup initially was they quit. Like, so
you just answered your own question.
You guys announced 3 shows back, turned into 4, playing New York City first. Yep. Then Long Island.
Paramount Theater. That's where I work. I'm stage manager there. You know what's funny is that a lot of the kids that work there were like NB fans, you know. People that work at music venues tend to like music, so like, and they're all from Long Island. So like, when all this buzz started happening about the shows happening, like I would have these random kids that I've seen every day that have never said hi to me or anything like that, and they'd be like, "Yo, you playing MV on the Coast?" And I'm just like, "Yeah," and they're just like, "And you guys are playing here?" And I was like, "Yeah," and they're just like, "That's fucking crazy, dude. That is crazy." And I was like, "Do I not look?" I mean, like, it might have been a little thinner back then, but like I feel like I look the same. So I don't know, but yeah. I mean, he's the only one people fucking look at anyway. So I guess that's look at that face. Bill Frick. That's why they have 3 cameras for you. 1, 2, 3.
No dreadlocks though.
No, man. Yeah, it's shows in 2 months. It's not.
I mean, anything's possible. Party City,
except for that. That's actually not possible. Yeah.
That's the only thing that's not going to happen during these shows.
He showed up for Warped Tour 07 with the what would be the dreads, and it was
real questionable.
It was a time because they were like little shorty little braids,
like the Brat.
One more thing I want to ask you guys.
Sure.
The amount of people that have Envy on the Coast tattoos.
A lot.
I don't think I've seen any other band from that era you guys were going in.
Can I tell you a funny story about one?
Please tell me.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So I had just worked a show at Webster Hall. I was being a stagehand, and I was in Penn Station by myself with my backpack on.
That's a different story than I thought you were going to talk. Go ahead.
Oh, no. No, that's no, never mind. Anyway. So I'm in Penn Station by myself. I have my headphones on, my backpack. I'm standing there looking at the train time thing like every other dickhead in the world. And this girl comes up to me, and she's like stands in front of me. She's a little like punk rock looking chick. And I can't hear what she's saying, but her mouth is moving. And I take my headphones off, and I was like, hey, what's up? And she's just like, you play an MV on the Coast? And I was just like, yeah, yes, I used to play an MV on the Coast. She's just like, okay. And then she just lifts her skirt up, which, and to that point, people are just like looking at it like, what the fuck? Lifts her skirt up, and she has lyrics from Laps on her leg. And I was just like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, that's awesome. And she's just like, she's like, yeah, that song's like means the world to me. Like I was really bummed out, and like, you know, I forget exactly what he said because I was pretty shocked about like what had just happened. But like stuff like that'll pop up every now and again. Like there have been people like I work at the Paramount that have been like, yeah, look, Envy on the Coast tattoo. I'm like, that's weird.
Especially after the band ended too, you know, like that's crazy. Like I keep going back to that where it's just like, oh man, we haven't played a show in a long time. Like that's wild. But yeah.
A lot of them might be new because I know I was 17 when you guys announced the last shows. I was just graduating, so and I know Meyer, like everyone was into you guys, so probably like once they turned 18 might have been their first tattoos.
That's cool. That's awesome.
I'm not saying that as a fact. It's just like speculation.
I've seen they're honestly and like it's weird because it's my band, but like I have seen at least 100 people over the years with Envy on the Coast tattoos, and that's a lot of fucking. You put 100 people in a room, it's a lot of people.
Yeah,
they all got Envy on the Coast tattoos. It's cool. Some of them are huge. Some of them will prevent them from getting jobs.
It's 2016, man. We're good.
I don't give a fuck what year it is. I'm not gonna hire you, especially you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sitting down with me.
Of course, man.
And I'm pretty stoked. This might be your first on-camera interview in God knows how many years.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Together for sure. Yeah.
Together again.
We're really excited. You know, we just want to play these fucking songs.
Yeah.
That's really what this boils down to. Is like we just can't wait to get on.
And we're
stage
definitely
play
going
songs.
to.
Nice.
It's gonna be sick.
I cannot wait. I'll be home. I actually got to go to a friend's wedding, and just around that time, which is perfect.
Sweet.
He planned it a year ago, so he wasn't copying.
You know, it'd be a perfect wedding gift for them.
Envy on the Coast tickets.
Envy on the Coast merchandise.
So there's going to be merch.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Nice.
That's gonna be dope merch too. We're whipping up some shit.
I still have my black hoodie with the green neon.
Oh, that's
and
people ask about that all the time, and it's like
$100. I'll sell it.
$100 is it? Do people are like people bidding on that?
I don't know. You made it sound like they would be.
Sure.
Go ahead, man.
All right. On that note, thank you guys once again for coming by. It means a lot. Really stoked for these shows, and stoked for what the future has to hold and some more announcants to come.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, seriously.
No
Thank you
problem.
so much for having us, man.